back to Kentucky Garden Gal. I'm Nancy, and I think it is safe to say I have a very bad case of spring fever. And I'm going to blame it all on that Puxatawny Phil. He predicted an early spring, and I think he got it right. At least I hope he did. But we're in the 1st of March, and I know that many of you are asking, what can I be doing in my garden in March? We are a Zone 7, so the biggest thing that everybody is doing right now is starting their seeds indoors. Now, our cold weather crops, like our vegetables, we can direct sow out, but our annual flowers, now's the time that you want to get those started in your seed trays so that you'll have them when it comes time, when it's safe after we're no longer worried about frost. So another thing that we are doing, we are planting. I picked up some roses last week. I'll put a picture in for you at Walmart, and they are beautiful. I've never seen them there before. They were only $10, and I'm gonna get out and plant those. Today we are right around 60 degrees, but I think tomorrow we're gonna be 70, and I have compost coming, so tomorrow I'm gonna plant my roses up and use my good compost, so I'm all excited about that. Now, if you watch this channel, you know I really love to plant in fall, because when you plant in spring, the first year, if you're planting perennials, the first year of your perennial's life is so important. It's so important for it to establish a good root system. And in order for that, it has to have adequate water. So if you're planting trees, shrubs, perennial plants this spring, you need to keep an eye on them, because it really takes about 3 years for a perennial flower to come into its full beauty. And like I said, the first year is the most important, because it needs to establish its root growth. So really keep an eye on them. The second year, you don't have to be quite as worried, and by the 3rd year, you should be in pretty good shape. And if you plant natives, it's going to be even easier for that plant to establish itself in your garden. So another thing that we are doing in March, in, like I said, Zone 7, I have been so frustrated with my weeds. And the older I get, the harder it is for me to maintain my gardens. I love my flowers. I'm not willing to cut out any flower beds, although I did take out my koi pond because it had become unsafe. I had fallen in it more than once. One time I actually hit my eye, and was kind of scary, so I agreed that it was time to get rid of the koi pond. But the flower beds, I love. So how do we keep the weeds out of our flower beds and cut down the amount of work that we have to do? So I've been researching this, and I have to tell you, it's not an easy fix. It's going to take time. And there comes a train, of course. The first thing that we need to be concerned about are the weeds that we have in our grass, because the weeds that we have in our grass can creep into our flower beds. So there are different pre-emergents on the market, and I have been researching them. I haven't really decided what I'm going to get, but I am going to go to Lowe's this afternoon and look for some pre-emergent. I think I'm let the train go by, looking for something with halts. So that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to get that started. I am also going to continue to sow grass to try to get a better stand of grass than what I have. So I'm going to be sowing grass. I'm going to be working on putting down the pre-emergent. Now the next thing that I want to really work on is when I get a flower bed weeded, when I have gotten all the weeds out of it, I want to get a good 3 inch of either compost or mulch on top of it, so that it doesn't, if you just leave bare ground, you are going to see seeds, because the wind, the birds, they're going to sow the seeds. So that's something that I really want to try to do a better job of this year, is getting a good 3 inches of compost or mulch. When I weed a flower bed, I want to go ahead and put that on it. I think that it'll really help to cut down on that, on the weeds. So the third thing that I want to do a barrier or an edge between my flower beds and my grass. And like I said, these things take time. I don't really have a good plan for that. In the past, I have tried doing, like with my weed eater, making like a 5-inch separate between the grass and the flower bed. And unfortunately, it seems like I fall behind on it, but I'm going to have to get more serious about it, because like I said, it is getting harder for me to keep up with all of the weeding in my gardens, and I enjoy my gardens. I don't want to give up any of my garden space, any of my flowers, any of my trees, any of my shrubs. I just want to get rid of the weeds. So that is the plan that I am going to be using to attack those weeds. Like I said, it's not an instant plan. It's going to take time, but it's something that you're going to see me working on regularly in my garden, and I'll let you know the successes or the failures that I have. If you had put anything as far as winter protection over your plants, in March you can start to pull that back, but make sure that you are checking your temperatures. Now, as you saw at the beginning of this video, our local IGA had these beautiful lush ferns for $20 on sale. So I went down, I picked up 6 today. But I have to be prepared that if we, for some reason, have a cold spell, I do have a greenhouse that I can take those and put those in. So I am jumping the gun a little bit by putting out my ferns, but it just feels so good. And it seems like it has really been the longest winter. The pansies that you saw in the beginning of the video were some that I had overwintered, and they're looking a little bit leggy, but hey, they're free. I had them in the greenhouse, so they survived the winter. I'm happy about that. Another thing that you can do in March is to cut down your ornamental grasses. Now, I leave mine up because it's a really good safe place for the pollinators in my garden. But now's the time for you to cut those back. And I even see some people who burn those, but where I live, it's just not safe to do. So I go ahead and cut mine back, and right now I just kind of do one a week and stick it in the trash can and send it out. But now's the time to do that. I also, if you have chickens, bunnies, whatever, you have probably been, my backyard looks like Tent City, because I have so many protective closures up around my coops, but trying to keep out the wind and keep everything alive and happy through the winter. And I'll watch the temperatures, and on a day like this, I'm tempted to go and take everything off, but I know there's that chance that our temperatures could still drop below freezing. So I'll just slowly watch the weather, but by the end of March, I usually have all of my tarps taken down, and it's starting to shape up for April. So those are some things that you can do in your garden in March. Like I said, I'm in Zone 7, so I hope that this has been helpful and beneficial to you. and I hope that you will continue to support this channel and we can just all grow and garden together. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.